Thanks, Colin. Yeah, so the soccer season, we're actually already about 4 games in. So we've been going for a couple of weeks now. We haven't quite yet hit our stride. As I think that's the easiest way to put it. We went up to North Dakota last weekend, started our first game against UND. It's a tough place to go. Field's kind of small, kind of narrow. They're a tough team, very physical. In the first 10 or so minutes, we really kind of struggled to kind of get into a groove. They had a couple of good opportunities. We almost found ourselves 1 or 2 goals down, and then all of a sudden we found a little bit of confidence, and from there felt as though we really kind of took over the game. Had some great looks on goal, had some good chances, and kind of unfortunate to kind of get out of there without a win. But it's kind of been somewhat of the story of the season so far, is chance after chance after chance without really finding the back of the net yet. Second game of the year we went to North Dakota State in Fargo, a team I'm very familiar with. We kind of went there with the idea of going out and playing with them and seeing quite what we could do against a very good team. And I think the result we lost 2-0 was probably a pretty fair result on the day. We certainly once again generated some chances against the run of play, but we learned a lot about the team that day. We kind of learned kind of where we were in terms of our belief that we can play with some of these sort of top tier mid-major teams. What some of our strengths are, what some of the things we kind of need to improve on as well. This past weekend we went to South Dakota State to play the Jackrabbits on Friday night, Summit League champions, and they kind of showed why they were the Summit League champions in the first half. They were very efficient. I think they had 3 shots on target in the first half, scored all 3 goals. They kind of showed us what it takes to win a championship in terms of being efficient in front of goal. The second half we made some adjustments, came out and had a lot of chances. But now Yount had a very good second half. Couple of great opportunities in front of net, just didn't quite connect on either of those, and Claire Netton got in on a breakaway and the goalkeeper and forced a very good save again. So it was kind of a game of 2 tails, so to speak. One team that's very efficient in front of goal, and one team that is still trying to find their feet, so to speak, in front of goal. Went into our game yesterday against St. Ambrose literally hoping we could finally score a goal. That's the thing, we had to get that monkey off our back, and everything all of a sudden seemed to click. We scored 4 goals yesterday, and they were chances that the previous 3 games we've been missing. We scored a really nice breakaway with Sydney Hayden, a freshman, who we have a lot of high hopes for, going in on goal. Really nice composed finish for a freshman. We had Amber Neelan score 2 goals. One of them was directly off a corner, and that was the type of chance that luck hasn't been going our way up until yesterday. So we're hoping that we're starting to turn a corner. We also had Kelsey Yarrow get in on the action early in the game, and scoring 4 goals in one game was obviously great for the confidence. So I think, moving forward right now, our challenge is, can we put together a full 90 minutes, both defensively and offensively? And if we can, I think that the rest of the season is going to be great. I think that hopefully that confidence boost that we have from scoring 4 goals yesterday is going to kick in as we move forward the rest of the season, and hopefully we're going to be exciting to watch. The one thing I will say is we create a lot of chances, and I'd like to think that we play some pretty attractive soccer at times. It's kind of fun to watch, so hopefully you guys get out and manage to get the chance to see us play here in the near future. This upcoming week, we go down to Arkansas. They just beat the number 3 team in the country, so nice, easy game for us against an SEC team in some pretty warm weather. But we're excited about it. We play these games because we want to stretch ourselves. We want to put ourselves up against some of the best teams in the country and see where we're at. And it'll be a great test for us on the road, under the lights, in what I'm imagining is some pretty warm weather. I've never been to Arkansas, but I heard it's hot, so. It should be a good test for us, and we're really excited for the game. And then we'll be back here on Sunday against University of South Dakota, a team that I'm fairly familiar with, having spent 4 years in the Summit League. They're a good team, they're well coached, getting better every year, and it'll be a tough game, but it'll be, once again, a good game to see kind of where we're at in comparison to a lot of the other mid-major schools at our level. And hopefully we'll get a good result out of that, and hopefully, as I say, the goals are going to start flowing a little bit more now that maybe we've got a little bit of confidence in front of the net. So it should be an exciting weekend. We're really looking forward to it, and so looking forward to hopefully getting a couple of good results. Any questions?
That win yesterday was your first home match of the year, and they talk about home field advantage, home court advantage in a lot of sports. Is that a big factor in soccer too?
That's what we're hoping. And we talked about it when we went to a few of the away games last week. Going to North Dakota State is a very hard place to go because they know how to play on their field. Going to South Dakota State is a hard place to go because they know how to play on their field. And that's something that we've talked about with our field, is making sure that we hold court at home. And that's what we've challenged the girls with, is we have to hold court at home. If we do that, it's going to be a great year. So we'll want to know at home. So we've started as we mean to go on. We've got to make the home field a fortress. We've got to make sure that teams come here knowing it's a hard place to play. And I think that we've got off on the right foot. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thanks.